Hey, we're the Hammonds, and this is our bus, Rolling Sunshine.
First off, the big visual difference here is our door. This door obviously originally came with a bifold school bus door with a pneumatic actuated button, which I really wanted to keep just because it's cool to push the button and the door open, but it's just not practical. This is a full light internal blinds door that's fully insulated. It's a residential door. Took a little bit of fabricating to make it work. The size of our bus, it's about 300 square feet. It's 40 feet long, which is considered a full-size school bus. I did start from scratch. This was an operating school bus when I bought it. One of the reasons I had confidence that I could pull this off, because this is a huge project. I grew up renovating Jeeps, so old CJ5s and CJ7s. So I used to flip those when I was younger. And for several years, Jessica and I were full-time real estate investors. So we flipped a lot of homes, did a lot of renovations and additions. I feel like I had a good sense of most of the skill sets that would go into building a bus, and then just had to apply them and figure out what was the right way to do this. If you look up the top, we've got a floodlight. I've got a floodlight on each corner of the exterior of the bus. Ended up installing a 3-camera system with a 10-inch display. It's mounted on the dash. I've got one camera on the side here, the other, and then one mounted at the top of the rear of the bus looking down. Here you can see the frame for our Elite 20-foot awning. This is the biggest awning they make. For a 40-foot bus, I felt like we needed it, and it really gives us shade for all of our sitting area, as well as if we want to store gear to keep it dry. Another thing you'll notice is the paint job. It's got a primer coat and then a single stage enamel with 2 coats, and the color is Subaru color. To me, the name doesn't fit the color, but it's called Cool Gray Khaki. To me, it has nothing khaki about it, but that's the name, and we love the color. This piece right here, which is probably one of the main things that people catch when they see our bus. It's special to me because my work is epoxy. This is a solid slab of maple that I cut down to the shape of a surfboard and then lay the epoxy on it for the ocean look. And then that is on 2 brackets that fold up. It's at a standing height. We didn't put it at a child's eating height because we had fuel fill and some other things to deal with, but for drinks and just setting things up out of the way, it's been perfect.
I fell in love with the idea of world touring, which is where you sell everything and you just travel the world and school and teach your children based on where you are. I failed to sell this idea to Austin. He said, absolutely not. Time went on. We watched the documentary on Netflix called Expedition Happiness, and that was something he could get behind. The school bus, renovation, lifestyle, living in the school bus, traveling. And so that is how we ended up here.
So here at the back of the bus, this is where our engine is. And one thing we added in the back was a trailer hitch. And then this is our RV rated bike rack. And then here's that rear view camera I talked about earlier that's associated with that full vehicle camera system. And then in this top corner here, you can see I've got 2 different openings. One of them, there's water dripping from it right now. That's our condensate from our rear mini split. And then next to that is a little port that is connected with tubing back to my gray tank. That's the vent, so that our gray tank is vented. We don't have internal vents like you would in a house. So we have that one vent, and then all of our plumbing is run through HEPFO valves. Moving over to the rear driver's side of the bus, this is the intake where our engine is cooled off. Now the RE300, one downside to it is traditionally the air intake comes from up here. And so it made the rear 3 or 4 feet unusable really. And so I deleted that and then put on a new steel panel. And these doors are factory, but I cut out these holes for them and then fabricated the scoops, and then I've tested it and it cools just fine. Right here is our water fill up. So we can just stick a hose in there and it fills up my 120 gallons of freshwater capacity tanks. And then next to it is a city hookup. So if we're at a friend's house or we're at RV park, we can thread in the hose and not really worry about any type of water consumption or running our electric pumps. This is just an exterior 120 volt plug. If we're ever working on something or want to hook up some exterior lights, it's a great option, or compressor if we're checking the tires, things like that. This is our shore power. So we have a 30 amp plug here. This vent right here, this box, is the exterior portion of our propane instant hot water heater. This is the vent where it exhausts out. And then you can see all the internals of the unit here. We're hardlined propane up to this unit, and the water flows through and gives us as much hot water as we could ever want. One of the first big projects I took on with the bus after we did the initial demo and gutting of the bus was underbody storage compartments. So what I ended up doing was fabricating these boxes, and this first box is really where I store all my tools. I've got a battery charger in here, I've got a full toolkit, wrenches, and just kind of miscellaneous stuff that you need on the road. And then we've got D-flute gasket all the way around it to keep it dry, and then these adjustable truck bed latches, these stainless steel latches that we can secure them, and lock them. This next storage compartment, these two are tied together. So we use this a little bit more for our storage of things like camp chairs and toys. This storage box is where we have our propane, and our propane system is hardlined into 3 fixtures. The instant hot water heater, our inside we've got a propane 4-burner stove, and then lastly I have a Blackstone barbecue grill. So this compartment is where I store our barbecue grill. Our Blackstone lives here, and it's on a slide out with drawers. I think they're 500-pound capacity, so they're way overkill. But what I liked about them was their locking. They have this little tab that allows it to lock. So even if I'm on a grade or someone pushes it, it can't slide back in there. And then to put it back in, we just push that down. It slides in and out. Some people decide to delete emergency doors, but we thought it would be a cool thing to keep. And if you open it up, this goes straight into our shower. And so if our kids are really dirty, been playing on the mud, we can take our shower head, it's on like a wand, and we can bring it down and it reaches out here to shower kids off, get the mud, the sand off. Then we can put them straight in the shower before they get cleaned off. We have 6 450-watt bifacial solar panels. So we got 2,700 watts of solar on the roof. And then the white coating is a Reflectix cooling coating. A lot of people use Tropicool, which is a silicone product. People complain about that being dirty. So we went a different route. This is an acrylic product, and it's worked out really well.
In terms of design, the options and ideas are overwhelming, but a few things that were really important to us. Number one, the height. We had to make sure that it was tall enough that Austin could comfortably walk standing straight up throughout the whole bus. Another thing is storage. With 4 children, you have a lot of things and a lot of clothes and toys and shoes. So we had to make sure that we could incorporate plenty of storage and just take advantage of every spot. The other thing that was really important to us was like the name and the vibe. I like to call my children my sunshine children. And so Rolling Sunshine developed for Nat, and that's how we used a lot of the beachy elements and the bright, vibrant colors in the bathroom, trying to tie it all together to create this image.
As we walk in, we've got a little cubby for shoes. This switch right here controls a cam light above the driver only. So it's on a separate circuit than the rest of the hall runner lights. Our passenger side floodlight controls are right here, and those are 2 separate switches. In the driver compartment, this is where I spend a lot of time. One of the things that was important to me was a co-driver seat. I wanted someone to sit with me. I knew there'd be a lot of hours here, and I didn't want it to be solo. So this is a Freedman seat that came in like, I think it's like shuttle buses would have these mounted to the walls. And the operation's pretty neat. Folds down and then folds up, and then now I can have 2 of the kids, 2 adults sitting up here with me. And when we're driving in the daytime, there's always 2 kids sitting up here. And then I upgraded the driver's seat to an air ride, and then it also has all the air controls, lumbar, a lot of fancy stuff I don't even mess with. We didn't change up much with the dash. We left that pretty much stock. Here is the 10-inch display for the exterior camera systems, and that comes on automatically with ignition on. This area right here is kind of a miscellaneous spot where we'll stack up books, school supplies, art supplies. And this area right here is a cubby that we mostly use for homeschooling supplies, and our diesel heater is plumbed through there. We have hidden little pop-ups for 120 volt and then 12 volt charging ports. This table here is rainbow poplar. It's a pretty special piece of wood. That's our dining table. This is our schoolwork table or art table. And it also is on brackets that can be folded down. We've got these 4 stools for the kids to sit. We stack them up. They go up under here. And then the same way that a drape is restrained is how we restrain these with this fabric. Our curtain rods are all copper, 1/2-inch copper pipe, and we have nice curtains with blackout material on the back side. On the passenger side of the bus, you can see this big air conditioner system. So this bus was an Orange County, Florida bus. So as hot as it is in Florida, it had 2 air conditioners, one in the front and had 1 in the back. And this runs only when the engine is running. And then under that, you can see our couch. It's a big couch. We have a big family. We have 4 kids and they're only getting bigger. So we went with a really large couch. As much room as I could fit on this side of the bus after we did beds and kitchen was couch. Underneath the couch is storage. The armrests for this couch are drops that I had left over from the rainbow poplar. And then for the flooring, I've got an LVT, a luxury vinyl tile. All of our shelving is open shelving. We did the stainless steel wire restraints, and it's worked out really nice. The ceiling is 1/4-inch cedar tongue and groove. It's been a really good product to work with to do this ceiling. I used a brad nailer on all of it and then construction adhesive. So we're relatively new at using our bus. So this is our first big trip with the bus completed. We've taken several smaller trips before it was totally done. The big challenge for me is just making sure my work is sustainable and runs smoothly without me being there. And so we're gonna slowly take longer and longer trips and hope to be able to take multi-month trips by the end of this year. When it comes to work, we are entrepreneurs. We have multiple things going on, I guess you would say, but our primary business is an epoxy flooring company called Carolina Flooring Specialists. We're based out of the upstate of South Carolina. We do residential garage floors as well as industrial and commercial work, but she and I also are real estate investors. Jessica works a lot on that management side. So as we move back a little bit into the kitchen, we have a full-size kitchen sink. We've got the Berkey. I don't know if it's a schoolie if you don't have a Berkey, so this moves around with us. We've got a magnetic knife block. Rather than taking up drawer space, use some of the vertical space. On this side, we've got in the countertop, we've got another one of these collapsible power strips with 120 and 12 volt again. We did do like a solid surface manufactured stone countertops. Our cabinets are factory cabinets. They're solid wood. I bought them, I did not make them, but then we did paint them and then upgraded to give toe kick storage. So underneath all of these, I built these storage drawers, and that's become very useful. So we have a 4-burner stove and then an oven. This is our pantry. This was a pretty difficult woodworking project. It holds a lot of food, plenty of spices, and it's got everything that we need. For the refrigerator, we went with just a basic apartment size. I believe it's a 10.1 cubic foot refrigerator. This area here is the controls for our instant hot water heater. Rather than using the mixer in the shower, it's better to set your temperature to exactly what you want to run. So for the kids, for example, I bump it down to 95 degrees. For Jessica and I, we'll be up above 100, 110, 115 degrees for a comfortable shower. So we move back into our bathroom. This bathroom has a composting toilet and a small sink. But the composting toilet, upgraded it to a diverter that goes down to a tank. So that runs out, and now we don't really have to worry too much about this toilet or any upkeep on a daily basis. Moving into the shower, these walls are really fun. There's a lot of color going on here. They kind of tie in with the floor tile, which has a bit of an iridescence to it. We brought in a lot of fun colors here. So we added this shower curtain, and that also helps to keep the water from running out the door and keeps it all in the shower pan. I found these doors that kind of pull back into themselves, and I used one for the shower and one for the bathroom, and they worked out really nicely.
So this next area is the kids' bunk area. So the 2-year-old sleeps here. Actually, he's 3 now. And we have these nice curtains. They can close off their section, have their private area. We have this divider curtain between the 2 littles so that they can close this and everybody can sleep well. Top bunk, they all picked out their own curtains to go on the windows. And then we have these storage that kind of hang and allow them to store stuff there. It keeps it up and out of the way. We designed these upper cabinets with these nice gas struts for storage. So we have 2 of those. There's also storage underneath this bunk, so this lifts up. There are nice little compartments. We also put in these nice little climbing footholds so that they can climb up here and get into the bunk.
My name is Coral, and this is my bed. I picked out the curtains. It can go like this, and then so that at night I can have privacy. But then when I want to like some light, I go like this, and I'm just closing up when I go to bed.
And then we also put in each bunk a light with a dimmer switch, so they have their own light that can be turned on and off and dimmed. We also have the USB porting chargers for their sound machines, lights, whatever they may need to charge at night.
Underneath my oldest daughter, Coral's bunk, this is what I refer to as like my mechanical room. So we've got sliding doors here, and it gives us access into some of the brains of the system. There's a lot of different options you can go with on solar. We went with Victron on almost all the components. We also decided to go with the DC to DC charging. Rather than carrying a generator as a backup, we could always just crank the engine up and the alternator is going to charge our system. Right here you can see the backside of all of our panels. These are our 120 circuits coming in, 12 volt circuits coming in, and then we have a supplemental 12 volt panel just to the side of that.
Hey guys, this is Justin from Mobile Dwellings, and please pardon the interruption real quick while I tell you about signaturesolar.com. When I'm working on a bus conversion, this is where I go for my solar panels, my mini splits, my batteries, and let me show you why. For example, I just installed these 3 Serverac 24 volt 200 amp hour batteries. This battery bank right here is exactly how you can get the most lithium storage for the cheapest price, and it's exceptionally high quality. If you use my new coupon code MobileDwellings50 at checkout, you'll get $50 off your order, but these coupon codes are going to change every 2 months. So if you're watching this a couple months in the future, look in the description below and you'll see my new coupon code, or go to schooliesupport.com on your phone or computer and you can see a list of my favorite products for bus conversions, updated weekly with exclusive discounts as well. Back to the show.
Right above us here, this was an emergency exit for the bus. There's 2 of them in the bus. I took out both of them and retrofitted them to hold the MaxxAir fan, and it's worked out really nicely. So when it comes to deciding whether or not you should take on a project like this, first be realistic. Do you have the skills? Do you have a place to do it? Do you have the ability to learn? I mean, YouTube can teach you absolutely anything. So if you really want it, anybody can do this. This project cost us about $35,000, including the purchase price of the bus, not including research and getting materials. I logged 735 hours in the build out of this bus. I would say if I included the time I researched and got materials, definitely over 2,000 hours. I mean, there were times when it was tough. Jessica took on the burden of putting kids to bed sometimes without me, cooking dinner sometimes without me, but it was well worth it. One thing that's been cool about, I guess Tiny Living or the Schoolie community really is they're just great people. When you're around people that have a passion for travel, that love their family and could imagine spending extended periods of time with their family close together, that love outdoor adventure and have the guts or the confidence to build out a bus like this, it's a pretty special group of people. And we connect with them on levels that we don't always connect with other families, in regular world. And now we're in the master bedroom. So we have a good bit of floor space. We have a good amount of closet space here. And this is where all of my controls are. From right here, I've got the 2 controllers for each MaxxAir fan. This is the controller for my mini split. This gives me my solar information. So right now, it's a little earlier in the morning, so we don't have high sun yet, but I'm bringing in 1,675 watts. Underneath the bed, since it's a rear engine, most of this space is engine. But it does step down, and there's some dead space there that I was able to fit in 60-gallon water tanks. I have them plumbed together so that they act as one tank. Back here, right above the bed, is our mini split. We also have a curtain that clips. We have 2 little eyes here that we can clip off for privacy in the bedroom. And we have another one that goes on the front side of the kids' beds so that we can compartmentalize this space to keep the climate control just back here.
I've heard a lot of people talk about one day we're going to do this, and before you know it, 5 years have passed and nothing's happened. And so it was really important to me that we be able to share these experiences and these memories. And my oldest is almost 7, and a third of her childhood is already over. And thinking about it from that perspective, it's like, I just want to make the most of every moment, and I want to pour into them and just have those times with them that they won't forget.
When people always like to think back and reflect on the good old days, but one thing that's really important is to think about right now, maybe we're living the good old days.
Thanks for spending the afternoon with us, learning about our bus and who we are. If you want to follow along on our Instagram page, it's at Rolling Sunshine Schoolie. You're welcome to come check it out. Stay with us. Check out the Carolinas. You'll love it.